Welcome back to the Nordic Championship here in the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios. And we are here with the very exciting best of 5, which is the finals for the League of Legends tournaments of the spring season. And we have Nyyrikki White versus Ventus Esports. And we've had a very exciting but kind of one-sided game number 1, where Ventus really showed what kind of incredible individual play they have. Their players are very strong and they really gave Nyyrikki White a run for their money. So the question here before game number 2 is, what is Nyyrikki going to do? Are they going to wait out the crucial laning phase and kind of even this out, because they have better teamwork possibly, and we saw huge potential in game number 1 for them to actually even be able to turn that around with the different scenarios and situations. So what do you think for game number 2?
I think they should make some small adaptations to the draft. I think the sort of general team fighting engage comp is a good style for them, but I think that they need to have more early game strengths. So you can't just pick scaling everywhere and then just pray that Ventus will make the game go late, because they won't allow that. So that's one small adaptation, and then just decrease the amount of individual mistakes. I mean, they made so many mispositionings, not using the spells at the correct time, especially in the bottom lane, getting caught out over and over. So if they fix those 2 problems, I think they could even be a stronger team than Ventus.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think that Ventus have these winning lanes, absolutely. But we saw a good draft for the bot lane that wasn't able to, should not have been able to get caught. We mentioned it earlier, they were caught anyways. These are the mistakes that you cannot make. They also picked a very slow scaling team composition, that if the game had progressed for a long time and they get all of their core items, they get to the late game, the fights that we saw that were well executed from a lot of times with a little bit of miscommunication happenings from Ventus Esports, Nyyrikki White could absolutely have been able to make a comeback on top of being behind maybe 4k gold, 3k gold, something like that, but not being behind 8, almost 10k gold. That is just too much of a deficit to play with. But that should not have happened. These are all things that should all have been calculated. And the things that happened were the mistakes that Nyyrikki White cannot allow to themselves to make yet again.
So what do you want to see differently in the picks and bans from Nyyrikki? What kind of composition should they be going for? What should they do?
I think the Sejuani is fine, but I think when you got Sejuani, you need to pick a pushing mid lane that can go and help out the Sejuani in the jungle. So looking at the champions that Yammer has been playing earlier, I think pretty much all of them works out fine. Syndra, Orianna, Lissandra, these sort of picks that can really push the wave, and then Roam be having a lot of presence on the map. I also think Tiara needs to swap out a bit of his place. I don't think, I mean, Galio is great when you get out of the laning phase, when you can really use that hero's entrance, but in lane, getting hooked over and over, there's not too much you can do. So I think something like a Braum or even an Alistar could have been a stronger choice there.
And that's great for seeing the changes, but for Ventus then on that side, they've been working fine with the team composition. They have their individual picks, and I hear that the draft is actually going. So talk a little bit while I leave it over to you and the draft about, should they change anything or should they just keep going with what they've had done?
I think I like Ventus is going for the strong early game picks. I think it worked out pretty well in the first game around. I'm not so sure if early picking Zilean when you know like it's going to be in the mid lane is the strongest choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a big feeling when we saw the Zilean that this is fine. Jamari is going to pick something that's very smart, that has a lot of early power, and just going to overpower this Zilean pick from Priest Konet, but instead going with the slow scaling Vladimir, just donating that mid lane priority to the enemy team is never something that you want to see. And here we see Ventus Esports go with a very similar team composition from game 1, but the big difference here is that Jace was left open, so Stenbusse is going to have a lot of priority in the top lane.
Of course, this could still be a flex pick towards Yammer, but I think it's going to be for Stenbusse in the top lane, and I like this. I think he was the strongest player for his team in game number 1, and I think playing more around the top side could definitely be the name of the game for them. The Poppy is the big standout pick that is really like having a strong matchup into this Jace. It's not like you're going to be having a lot of pressure early on, but you're going to really be outscaling and not allow Jace to do much in the 1-versus-1 matchup. So I expect that to be on the banning list if we go into the second round of bans. without a top laner being picked. Now maybe a jungler could be picked up here for Nyyrikki. Something like a Sejuani was played with pretty good result in game number 1, but it's going to be the Morgana instead as the counter pick to Thresh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is very fine. This is something that I was thinking about with Tiara, with the kind of playstyle that he has. I think this is champion he will be much more comfortable on than the Galio. Also, Galio into a Thresh is actually not that great of a matchup. It's quite easy for Thresh to be able to find the hooks when you're moving in slowly. He can flay you away, and he can intercept that kind of initiate that you want to have. And he can also use Slanter to get people out of harm's way, for example, out of the hero's entry. But here we see an interesting composition here with the Morgana and the Caitlyn pick.
Caitlyn, this is a very old school and a very nice dual lane in my opinion. Very strong pushing and sieging together with Jace as well. Looking at Ventus now though, Lucian is the low pen. I mentioned it in game number 1, such a strong early game dominant pick. Really something you can pick if you want to go toe-to-toe with Caitlyn early on in the laning phase. You can also just skip the AD carry pick here because there are so many AD still left open, and that is a Jinx with a Cillian. I think we're starting to see a bit of a protect the carry comp, Sang.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see how much focus Ventus Esports has on Kreeslin, and like, no surprise really from game 1, Kreeslin was the player that the rest of the team could just stand on top of and make sure that he was able to carry it on the Kai'Sa. Now even on a stronger hyper carry that even if the game progresses into late stages, still has more power than most of any marksman in the game. Now for the second round of bans, we see the Olaf ban, very similar bans here from the both teams, and the Riven ban from Nyyrikki White.
You really want to be getting his Dimbos into a nice matchup here on the Jace where he can keep the pressure on early. Don't want a strong carry for Sleeping to go up into that 1v1 duel, so even a ranged sort of mage-like top laner could be a pick here for Sleeping should he want to go for something like a Cannon, Ryze, even a Vladimir towards the top side if that's what he wants to do. Big stand-up jungler here for Kerapil is going to be the Jarvan for me. I think it's just so strong overall, very good into the Jinx without any sort of mobility spells, being able to lock her down in the Cataclysm, and the flag together with Caitlyn is going to give so much attack speed and so much sieging potential.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, but with an Italy ban here, Sejuani is still on the table, and even though Jarvan has a lot of engage potential, I think for me, watching Kerapil play game 1 on his Sejuani, being smart in the jungle, not falling behind in a bad matchup, and still being able to catch Mushed, for example, to find these picks on the map when they were able to get things happen. I do not mind seeing Nyyrikki White yet again go with a little bit slower jungler, as Kerapil, when he goes with these squishier initiators, has had a lot of trouble in earlier games in this tournament to find any success. But here is a completely different kind of champion. It's the Ivern, another champion Kerapil's been playing.
Yeah, this is a siege comp if I've ever seen one. They're gonna be grouping up and taking down the towers with Caitlyn inside the bushes. That's gonna be proccing her headshot faster than when she's just out in the open. And then with all of the safety from the Morgana Black Shield, I mean, this is a really nice team comp for Nyyrikki. It's really clear what they want to do, but I'm not so sure it's great into what Ventus has. Now for Sleeping, is he going to be looking to play a carry like one of those ranged mages that I mentioned into this Jace, or what's going to be his choice?
Yeah, I want to see just a big initiator here, and Poppy should definitely work even though it's not a big initiator. I would have liked to see a Scion or something like that together with the Skarner, just to allow Skarner to get in a little bit easier, but to me, it finds a little bit surprising to see the Jinx and then the Skarner pick, as I would prefer to see a Sivir, a champion we've seen a lot, that has the extra synergy together with the Skarner as well, and also has a huge carry potential.
Yeah, they want to be putting all of those speed buffs from the Cillian onto the Skarner, and I gotta say that I don't like Ventus' draft that much. When you're looking at both these team comps, Nyyrikki has a strong bottom lane. They want to really be playing around this with the Ivern, and Ivern is not going to be, like, sure, you can get kills on Jinx Thresh if they miss position, but I don't think that's going to happen for Crystal and Quickset. So I think what Kerapil is just going to be doing here is run in with the Daisy, force them out of lane, and then put up the siege with the bushes, while like top and mid are going to be fine for them. So if they can play around bottom lane with Ivern, crack that first blood tower, then rotate around the map with this Caitlyn Morgana and take down more towers, accelerate that gold lead, I think they've got a good siege comp. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about this mid lane for Jameru, going with the Corki into the Cillian? For me, I feel like he has a little bit more kill potential, even though Corki is also quite slow scaling. It's nowhere near as slow as the Vladimir.
Yeah, he definitely has more push early, so he can have more pressure on the map, especially once he has the package. I think the big deal for him is just the ability to farm up against the Cillian. He knows Cillian will not have any kill pressure on towards the Corki, since you've got the Valkyrie to get away from any sort of double bombs. So I think this is just Yamaru is saying that I want to scale up, I want to farm, and then be a very strong late game threat. One of the biggest late game carries in the game, Quirky.
Absolutely, but this is also a composition that for Nyyrikki White is a little bit more difficult to play than the composition they ran last game. For this one, if any of them is caught out of position, this all kind of falters a little bit. We're having this siege composition. You need to have all these good disengage tools to be able to get away. For example, say Kenapil gets caught out of position, he is killed by a random hook or something. If Tiara is not on point with the black shield, that is something that can spell disaster for them. And this worries me a little bit as we see Ventus Esports, when they get ahead, they really run away with it.
Yeah, for sure, and this is a team comp that you can't really fall behind with. When you're looking for the sieges, you really want to, like, if you fall behind with this sort of siege comp, it's going to be so rough for you because you don't want to be grouping up and allowing the 5 versus 5 fights to go down when you've fallen behind. So as long as you're ahead, as long as you're able to get first tower with Caitlyn Morgana, then rotate to another lane, get the first tower there, keep rotating, keep getting more gold onto your carries, and then scale up for the late game. Yes, you're going to be fine, but if they ever fall behind, this is a hard comp to execute.
Absolutely, and it's up to Musht on this corner to make these initiations happen. And with the extra speed buff he gets from Priestkunit, it will be much easier, but he needs to be able to dodge all these skill shots from both Morgana and Kenapil with his Ivern to get into that position.
And I think this says a lot about how interesting of a drafting phase this was, that we have a Skarner in the jungle, and we've not even talked about it. This is a curveball for Ventus Esports, not a meta jungler on this patch at all, but I think the combination with Cillian is what's so strong. When I was coaching a team in Challenger, which was really back in the days like Season 5, we used to love running Lulu mid with Skarner because you make Skarner really, really fast. When at the enemies, there's not too much you can do to get away from that ultimate. Now it's going to be the Cillian for the speed buff instead together with that Skarner, and that's going to be really hard to get away from.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's up to Tiara and Kenapil. Like, of course, that Tiara has the black shield, so will be able to save someone from getting caught by the Skarner. It's really up to Musht to be able to intercept that and be able to run around it, to be able to find that good position for it. You can see Azitor and Tiara now respecting this matchup a lot more, not picking the black shield on level 2, as you don't want to do on the Morgana. Means they need to be very careful and get away from Quickset's hooks.
Yeah, now that you mention it, a lot of pressure is going to be on Tiara's shoulders here because he has the tools with the black shield to deny both
and
the Impale
here
and the
comes
hook.
the hook. The black shield is there. It's going to deny the flame, but still Azitor taking a lot of damage. You see the Ignite used immediately to make sure Azitor loses as much HP as possible. Gonna get the Ignite back fairly quickly, something that you can use. And Quickset, again, just shows how strong he is on this Thresh.
Yeah, not sure if I cast a curse to Azitor there, but talked about, or sorry, Tiara there, when he was late with the black shield on the hook, so Quickset was able to get in and burn the flash of Caitlyn. That just means that Mosh is going to be looking to come down towards his bottom lane. With the Thresh, you have so much ganking set up for that Skarner after level 6. When you got Predator into Impale and you don't have flash on the Caitlyn, it's going to be very hard to get away from if you've been able to burn the black shield before the fight starts.
Absolutely. Tiara now set, went for the black shield, using it on Azitor this time. Instead, the hook lands on him. So it's a difficult situation right here. Kenapil moving up towards Musht. Just going to watch him take the Raptor cap. Not able to get anything from it. Musht edging ahead ever so slightly. Here's a really good position. They're catching Azitor. He's juking back and forth, using his heal as lightly as possible. Esther really playing this, but still the damage is just too strong with the Jinx versus the Caitlyn and Tiara. Even though I would say Azitor and Tiara played that well, they shouldn't have been playing it at all, to be honest.
Wow, that is just showing the bottom lane mismatch right now. Jinx and Thresh not going to be having that good of a matchup into the Morgana Caitlyn, but still being able to get kill after kill, burning summoner after summoner, and Quickset there towards the end with a great hook on towards Tiara. Speaking of him, though, he's going to be coming in with Kenapil here. Can they do something?
Teleport coming in, though. Sleeping arrives. Another great hook lands, this time on Kenapil, just as Priestkunit arrives. Gonna force the flash on Kenapil, and being happy with that, they're just gonna back away.
And that's like the third time before 5 minutes that Tiara uses the black shield on someone as the hook goes out. And then it just turns out the hook is on the other guy, not the one that has the black shield. So Quickset is just outplaying Tiara right here, right now, showing who is looking to be the better support right now. Still, as I said, Tiara will have a lot of outplay potential with a black shield up against both the Impale and the hook from Quickset.
Yeah, absolutely, but this is worrying. actually, with Quickset being able to make so much happen on his Thresh as Tiara picked the Morgana to be able to handle it. And we see a little bit, I think, stage nerves maybe for Tiara, not being able to find that black shield on the correct targets. But Quickset is really going to town on this champion, and I'm not sure if Nyyrikki will be able to allow him to go for the Thresh again.
Yeah, not sure, and we saw a bit of the top lane there. Stim was on the Jace versus sleeping on the Poppy. That is really the one lane that's going to be having pressure for Nyyrikki. Actually, they have some decent pressure in a lot of these lanes, but I would like to see them play more around Stimbosa because he really was the shining light of the team in game number 1. He was able to provide a lot of team fight pressure on that Urgot, be able to win the lane as well, although like he didn't solo kill, but he at least got ahead a bit in the CS in just a straight up 1 versus 1. So would love to see Nyyrikki play more around Stimbosa, especially when they got him on the pick like the Jace, but so far they've just been leaving him up on an island in a 1 versus 1, and if it's something that I've talked a lot about in this tournament when casting it, it's that you want to play around your strengths early on.
Yeah, absolutely not allow your opponents to play around your weaknesses. You really need to make focus on what you can gain. Because this is the bot lane right now, again, for Nyyrikki White, who is falling behind. And it's falling behind not only in a solo situation, with Kenapil being down here,
we go,
moving in. Now he has arrived, though, and the big question is, can Quickset get away from this? Good Traps is going to land, but without anything here to keep Quickset alive, this is one more auto attack, and Astor picks up the kill.
And look at the vision in the bottom side for Ventus, or rather the lack of vision, because they had no idea that Kenapil was going in. Quickset and Crystal. I mean, Quickset, you have 2 control wards in your inventory, but just putting too much confidence right there. Just trying to press. Oh, gonna be forcing the chrono shift here is Yamaru.
Yeah, and Yamaru doing a very smart thing here. Actually flashing forward. He thought he had that, but in the end didn't quite time it correctly. So Priestcon is going to come back with full HP. I think Yamaru could just have held on to his flash and just waited it instead. Now he's going to have to face Priestcon again, with Priestcon having full HP, although he's low on mana.
Yeah, since he burned the flash of Priestcon, I think that's perfectly fine for Yamaru, showing that the Danish mid laner was not sure either whether the ultimate was going to run out there on the Cillian either. So Yamaru is going to be scaling up on this Cork, and he's going to be really scary later on. I mean, when he gets that sort of 2 to 3 item power spike, Cork is really one of the champions that have been benefiting a lot from the crit items getting changes, getting some buffs there towards those items that he really likes to build after the Trinity Force. So look for Yamaru to be having a lot of pressure later on. You're not expecting him to get any sort of solo kills here, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You did not expect that to happen, but I am happy to see that Yamaru really stepping up here, even though on top of that, I still believe it is a mistake to try to go for the flash kill in that situation. Instead, you can just force Priestcon to recall without having his teleport and make sure that you're going to get that advantage. Now, instead, they went like 50-50. Nothing really happened in the mid lane. But still, Yamaru is one of the players I will be looking for to turn this game around for Nyyrikki White.
Yeah, definitely going to be the strong points in the solo lanes, as I mentioned, and I talked about the level 6 ganks from Kenapil. If he gets Daisy down and goes for some sort of a gank here, that could be scary, especially with the package coming in as well. And you can see how much pressure this mobility boots Iron is able to put on these lanes, because what happens when you've got so much movement speed from the boots mobility is that usually you just have to throw the Q from kind of far away and hope that it lands. But with the Mobi boots, you can just pretty much run up into melee range, just throw a point-blank root collar, and then pretty much be guaranteed to have that landing. And if you're able to get a kill on the bottom lane with Kenapil, we mentioned the siege ability with the Caitlyn Morgana with the extra bushes coming out of the Ivern as well can be very strong. So I definitely think that's what Kenapil should be looking for after this recall. Just run straight bottom lane and try to unlock Asador and Tiara here on this duo.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenapil on this Iron is a champion that the team has had a lot of success with earlier. Oops, of course, as we watch Stenbos, he's going to make that kind of a little bit of a misplay. That's the curse. As soon as the camera is on you, you're like going to miss a siege minion or something. See, Sleeping is happy with that. But yeah, Sleeping is falling behind quite a bit in the top lane, as Dragon has just been started by Mush.
Interesting to see that Stimbosa is actually going for the lethality here. This is more of the grouping build, so won't do a lot against the Poppy, who will obviously just be stacking armor up against the likes of Caitlyn and Corky as well. Especially an item like Ninja Tabi is going to be very efficient. This might be a fight, though.
Yeah, absolutely could be. A good hook is going to land on the level 4 Tiara, level 5 Tiara. It's going to flash away Follow up by Acitor though, dealing a lot of damage on Kreeslund. He's down half HP. He's going to be a little bit worried about taking this fight. Flashing away now. Not going to land the combination of abilities there. Instead, the hook on Acitor. But Mush jumps back into the fight again and lands on top of that trap, allowing Acitor to pick him up.
Still penalty.
Jameru, I mean, was able to once again win the duel, was not able to get the kill. This time though, Priskonov has his teleport up, but Jameru is going to be able to get a little bit damage off on this turret.
You can see how much stronger Nyyrikki are looking compared to game number 1. I think they've improved the draft. They have a very clear team comp that wants to do a lot of things, and Mountain Dragon is going to be super strong for this comp. Exactly the dragon that you were looking for.
Yeah, definitely. Acitor just now moving into the bush. He's going to have that little extra damage from his passive on top of that, but that is a Mountain Dragon for Nyyrikki in white. This is very important for him. Now moving in, finding Tiara. Tiara going golden, using his ultimate, and the ultimate from Kenapil is not going to transfer, not going to hit anything. That's another kill for Acitor. Now chasing down Quixen. A couple of more auto attacks, does not have enough mana to use his ultimate, but that is another fight that Nyyrikki white will be very happy with.
And Nyyrikki winning the bottom lane fights, that's not something I thought I was going to be saying a lot during this series, but actually able to do it. I think Quixen has been outplaying Tiara really well in a lot of these situations, but they're just showing that they're too far ahead. In the bottom side, you're going to be forcing Kreeslund back. They've got 3 kills onto the Caitlyn in that early fight, so gotta say that Nyyrikki are looking strong here. Both of these teams scale really well though, so I can't really say that one of the teams has an advantage should this go later.
Absolutely. This is very different from game 1, that we can't say what will happen in the later stages of the game. But for now, I think Kenapil is definitely outperforming Mush here. Although Mush was able to start the dragon, he wasn't able to finish it even with his bot lane. They had a lot of ward cover, but not in a good position to go even further. And I think a lot of this has to do with Jameru in the mid lane winning this matchup, and in the top lane, Stenboso also getting ahead, getting the turret plates off, and really pushing Sleeping.
Yeah, we can see one tower plate going down in favor of Stenboso so far, and with the early swap to the top lane, when they've got the Mountain Dragon as well, Kenapil and Tiara, I think this is so smart because you get the dragon on the bottom side of the map, meaning that there's no big objective there. Then you're swapping up to the top side, and Stenboso will be able to wave clear here. He can't get dove easily though, he's a squishy Jace.
Yeah, absolutely. Stenboso is not in a good position, and with the combination of the Lantern and the Impale and the damage, that is the easiest kill I have ever seen picked up with a beautiful combination of abilities.
Yeah, Impale plus Lantern, they're really fun to see that being used actually. But Nyyrikki with the Mountain Dragon, gonna be taking that herald quite quickly and summoning it towards the top side, are gonna be slower when it comes to unlocking the first tower, but they're gonna be getting the tower here in the top lane. With that herald, Sleeping can't do too much, so still, gotta say that they should be equalizing the gold here at just a couple of 100 gold separating these two teams right now.
Absolutely. These two junglers now doing what you're talking about, playing around their strengths, knowing they have the stronger bot lane. Nyyrikki white realizing that they are falling behind in the bot lane instead, focusing the top lane. They still lost it, and they lost Stenboso. It's a little bit of a bad situation for that, but still should be happy with that situation. Oh, that is huge, actually! The plant knocking Acitor back into enemy team with the Keeper's Verdict as well is going to secure the kill for Kreeslund. Kreeslund is going to chase Kenapil as well, as Tiara has been caught by another hook, and he is about to fall. Kenapil running away, have to flash Tiara in the middle lane into enemy territory. We don't need Jameru here to keep him alive. It's not going to be enough. There goes Tiara. Jameru is able to survive it. The hook's not going to land, but I think Ventus Esports should be happy with that exchange if they're able to get a bit more gold from it.
Yeah, the plant there from Quickstep, absolutely huge, being able to knock Acitor into his own team. That was pretty insane. Gotta look at the bigger picture though and say that Ventus were just ahead of the play. They knew exactly that they were gonna be looking to set up a fight there. They had the ultimates available, so they were swapping up the bottom lane. Kreeslund Quickset was already in the top side of the map, while Stenboso was still down in the bottom lane. So you can't really say this is a fault of any individual player on Nyyrikki. They were just behind on beating the map, what was going to be going down there, compared to what Ventus was.
Absolutely, a good movement there from Ventus, and
oh,
red buff, steal.
Broke him.
Yeah, absolutely, red buff broke him. Was able to steal that Gromp. Running away, a little bit annoying for Kenapil as he was trying to trigger his passive on it, but it's a little bit too late for that one. In the end still, I feel Nyyrikki is in such a better position in this game than they were in game 1. Now, not falling behind, like, globally in any way, but still just in general, they have that Mountain Dragon, gives them a little bit of an extra power in the early stages. But on the other side, you can see the gold difference is beneficial for Ventus Esports.
And the goal difference is on the right people right here. Look at Crystal's item and compare them to Isidore. He's so far ahead on this AD carry itemization. He's about 20 CS up, got the big shutdown kill on... Oh, there we go. For Sleeping though. Yeah,
Jamero starting the fight versus Sleeping, although no one is there to help him just yet. Jamero is going to get a little bit poke off. The Red Scuttler will be picking up by Nyyrikki White, so they're going to have that control around this dragon right now. But you said it earlier, Kreeslund is so much ahead in comparison to Azitour, so he's going to be able to shred through this turret. More bindings is going to land, finds Priest Kunat. Good wave clear there, turret still losing about half HP.
This is one of the strong points of the Jinx. You have so much pushing potential with the rockets and then being able to shred the tower with a minigun. So really liking putting Crystal into the middle in here. They are getting tower damage on pretty much every wave right here. Objective is going to be Cloud Dragon though. Do the teams prioritize this?
It looks like that Nyyrikki is definitely going to start it. I'm not sure what Ventus wants to do. It looks like they're setting up for a team fight. There is no vision here for Nyyrikki White, and they just now see Quickset are going to turn around on it, but landing it perfectly. And that is a very suppressed Jamiru going down first in the fight. Dragon's still up. No one is going to get it right now. Sleeping on the front line, and here comes a huge ultimate from Kreeslund. It's going to take down almost everyone low, and there comes the follow-up from Priest Kunat as well with the time bomb sticking, and Tiara going down 3 for 0. Kreeslund is here with the flag. One auto attack, one crit. It's going to do it. Now chasing down Stibbles. I don't think there's any way Stibbles can survive this with the hook, with the ace, and that is a beautiful team fight from Ventus Esports.
Wow, the Jinx flanking. That's not something you see every day, Kreeslund. That was really big. And you gotta say that this Skarner pick has been working out well for Mosh right now, because they were able to burst down Yamaru, one of the big carries for Nyyrikki here. Before the fight even started, couldn't do anything on this Corki. So it was really well done by them, and you can see that they got a clean ace without even having to use the Chrono Shift.
Absolutely, but I'm so confused right now because I don't feel that Nyyrikki needed to go for that dragon. I really feel like they should recognize they're behind. As you said, Jinx at this point with these items has so much more damage, but maybe they saw the Kreeslund wasn't there, thought that they could make something happen. But on their side as well, I mean, they're the sieging team, we said it earlier, but when they get caught out like this, not having the vision to see Quickset before he's already on top of them, that is difficult to handle. And I feel like even though Mush definitely is showing up on this Skarner, it's all on top of a Quickset and his hooks and his lantern and just being the first initiator for his team.
Yeah, this Thresh first pick is working out so well for Ventus. Quickset is outplaying like everyone on Nyyrikki pretty much, with the hooks early on, being able to get them down before TR can use the Black Shield, and then using the lantern to get someone who's been impaled by Mosh into the backline. And now Kreeslund has been reaping the benefits of this. He's up a rapid fire cannon. He's up a complete item at 18 minutes and 30 seconds compared to Azidor on this Caitlyn. And I think the reason that they went for that fight towards the Cloud Dragon, is that they realized that they were going to be losing mid tower. They were taking damage on every wave just from the superior pushing and sieging potential of Kreeslund. So I think what they were saying was just that, okay, we need to make something happen before we lose this tower, but hey, now that we're Captain Hindsight, we can say, yeah, that was probably not a good idea.
It's easy to speak from hindsight, but something that is not hindsight, something that you did call, is that it's very difficult for Nyyrikki White to play this composition when they have fallen behind.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team comp where you want to be sieging up to the enemy towers with the Ivan bushes, then sit the Caitlyn with the Black Shield potentially, as well as all the traps for zoning in those bushes and get the tower damage. But yeah, when you have fallen behind, you can't really do too much. You have a good amount of wave clear. I mean, even like pretty much everyone in the team cup except Ivan has a decent amount of ability to kill these minions that are pushing in. But look at how squishy they are. They don't have a single front line. Or maybe you can count Daisy. I don't know if you'd count Daisy as front line.
I'm not sure. I mean, she is quite tanky. She is a big lady, but I'm not sure if you count her as a tank.
I wouldn't count her as a tank. So Nyyrikki, anyone here, if anyone gets caught out, they're going to be going down. And they have a hook from Quickset, and they have an impale into Lantern from Mosh and Quickset to make these picks happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And now sieging down turrets, making sure to secure that free gold over the map, and also just unlocking this potential for a fight around the Baron.
Yeah, really, like, actually not the greatest Baron take from Ventus. Sure, this Jinx is going to be doing a ton of damage to that, but other than the Jinx, not too many people that are good at taking down the Baron, and there is no Mountain Dragon for their team. On the other hand, Nyyrikki has a pretty good Baron take with all of these damage dealers, providing consistent damage from Corki, Caitlyn, and Jace. So really got to say that Ventus can't pressure Baron too much, although they do have some tanky champions, so if they are able to start up the Baron just to bait Nyyrikki in, to make them sort of face check into the Baron pit and then turn around to make a catch, that's probably the way they want to be setting up around this objective.
Yeah, absolutely, and making catches is what they have been doing this entire game. Krislund is now on his third item. He has so much crit right now. He has the AoE damage with the Runan's Hurricane, and he's just a monster. On the other side, Azitor, he's only on the 2 items. He has the static shiv, but in a team fight situation, there is so much more damage from Krislund. Also, I'm a little bit surprised to see that Azitor didn't go for the rapid fire cannon.
Yeah, the static shiv is this item when you're going to be clearing and pushing out the waves, but yeah, we're 22 minutes in, you're falling 5k gold behind. Killing waves is not going to be good enough. And this Caitlyn, you usually talk about the strong early game laning phase, but they lost the laning phase early on. So now Caitlyn's next power spike is going to be like 5 or 6 items when the range really starts to become really strong, because that's like the only thing as an AD carry that you can't pick up in items is the extra range. So Caitlyn with the range will be able to make this happen, but yeah, so
but speaking of range, look at the range that Krislund has on the Jinx. He's just going to Q, jumping in, and now they find Appeal again. Nothing here to keep him alive, and they find Jamiru as well. The attack is in the air, and with the red buff, it's enough to pick up the kill. Now shakes him down now to 1. It's Azitor on the side with the bomb on him. Double kill for Krislund, and the backline here comes Sleeping. Moving in for the backline, although he's very lonely right now. He's going to use barely survive with a triple kill, and the flash forward by Krislund with the heal just to make sure that everyone stays alive, and he has his mobility, and now the Baron is wide open.
And Quickset just makes it look easy on this Thresh. He just walks up, throws out his spells, hits someone, like catches someone out of position, just bursts down Canopy Hill before he can do anything. This is going to be a free Baron going over to the side of Ventus Esports, and I just feel bad for Stenboss. So you can see him on the Jace, they're like shooting a bit with his gun or whatever that is, and they're just looking sad at his team. What are you doing? I can't do anything.
Yeah, he can't really do anything at this point. As you said, I mean, this Baron takes quite slow actually for Ventus Esports, but on top of a team fight that you almost ace again in this game, there's really no problem for them at all. Just gonna go for it. Quickset this time, deciding to 1 versus 1 can appeal. Teleport coming in, they're actually going to go for it. Is this too much? Another teleport coming in. Ace in the hole is going to land on Quickset. Quickset taking a lot of damage here, but Daisy is not really the main carrier of the fight. Instead, it's Priest Kunet with the double kill. Is on a big rampant. Gonna find another one just because, and get the dragon as well.
Wow, 17 kills now having gone down. 22 stack Magi's for Priest Kunet. I think that is pretty strong actually. Gonna be providing a lot of AP for them there. And Krislund, he's so fed. He's just gonna be pushing down solo here. He can pretty much 1v1 anyone from Nyyrikki, even a 1v2 at this point on this Jinx.
Yeah, absolutely. He is once again this huge monster on the Jinx. And Krislund is really the player we've been talking so much about on Ventus Esports, and he's been getting everything that he wants these games. He's been the main carry, the team focus around him, and even though they got a lot of ganks, Nyyrikki got a lot of ganks down bot lane from Canopy, they weren't really able to get anything from it. Their winning lanes can't do anything versus the might of a almost 4 item Jinx.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you right there, and even if you're able to pressure the Jinx, there's a chrono shift from the Cillian to save her if there should be any sort of pressure going down towards them. And yeah, Corki Caitlyn, sure, if you get to 4 items, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be outscaling, you're gonna be doing a lot of damage, but yeah, look at Krislund right now. He's not gonna be letting Corki even get to 2 items at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Just moving up, getting those Q attacks off, getting another turret now. Moving forward, might want to go for a fight in Krislund in the front line. He feels so secure with Priest Kunet being there to keep him safe with the chrono shift. Now looking for the mid lane inhibitor as well.
That's going to be double inhib going down. Unless the poke from Stem was actually enough to dissuade them. They do have a lot of poke on this comp with, oh, here we go for quirky though.
Yeah, they want to go for it. Not able to burst him though, as Jamero gets the counter kill. Taking some damage from Chrisland as well. Chrisland not having that much of a range, can't really chase it any further without his ultimate. Still happy with that, getting the inhibitor bot lane, getting some damage off the inhibitor mid lane.
Gonna be probably the last reset of the game here for Ventus, as they're gonna be going back to the bases. And you can see the double Cloud Dragon for the team is not something that you're usually too happy with, but this Skarner for Maj is just insane. He's gone Predator, Righteous Glory, double Cloud Dragon. Like, what are you supposed to do when you're up against that?
Yeah, I don't know what they are supposed to do with
no
this,
QSS
to be honest.
You're so far behind. You
yeah,
can't
exactly. You can't even afford it, and this is a big problem. Also, I want to mention that Iron is a monster. Eating his friends around him, that's just bad manners.
Pretty bad manners. Gotta agree with you there.
Like, he looks like this kind old grandpa, and then he eats those little cookie things. That's the stuff that Nightmare is made of. Something other that Nightmares are made of is falling behind 4 to 17 kills in the finals of the Nordic Championship versus Ventus Esports.
Yeah, I bet TR is gonna be having nightmares about these thresh hooks for Quickset, because if he lands one hook on a priority target in these next fights, this is going to be game over. If there's a Skarner ulti into a Flesh Lantern on a priority target, that's potentially going to be game over as well. Look for Quickset and Maj to unlock this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Also look at Chrisland just out-poking the enemy team all on his own.
Oh, he flashes into it!
Oh no!
What was that?
Flashes into... I mean, Jamero flashes into Priskun, heads attacks, not getting away from anything. Chrisland is now legendary, and now this is the final fight. Moving in, I would say final stand, but there's nothing left standing. No Nexus almost soon, and these inhibitors will be the first thing to go.
Yeah, this is going to be looking for the Ensang. VT Chrisland has destroyed a blue turret, and this might be it.
Quickset goes in yet for another kill up on the solar platform as well, and they get it. It's the ace. That's gonna add a soldier injury. Now going for the Nexus. This is game 2. Another one taken down by Ventus Esports.
Well, we had a 21-minute game, then a 27-minute game, and Chrisland is averaging 14 kills per game. How about that?
Yeah, that's insane. Chrisland has been absolutely insane, and this is what we're saying again. Even in this game, though, the A-Store and Yura didn't fall that much behind. It's just a monster on the other side. Chrisland, as soon as he gets anything, just gets ever so slightly ahead, he takes the game, he takes the reins, and he just runs away with it.
Yeah, that's
basically it. What do you think, Petter?
I think he's a monster of a bot laner. What do you really do there? Because it was looking good from the beginning for Acitor. I mean, the start was a little shaky, but they really caught that up. They found the kills, they found a really good lane presence, and that happened all over the map. Nyyrikki were doing very good, and then yeah, it all fell apart. Again, it seems like the composition, because this time they were, at least in my eyes, doing fine individually. They really had the skill set to put this down. They had a lot of cope, a lot of poke, and they were nice composition for sieging on. But then what? Ventus just snowballed. Yeah, there was a dragon fight. Tell me what happened. What really changed? What really started the snowball that ended in another 10k goal difference?
I think the answer to that is Quickset. I think he just outplayed his support opponent Tiara here over and over. Hooks landing before the Black Shield was able to come in. And I just think that I mean, you know he's going to be first picking Thresh every time when it's open. You know he's going to be such a good playmaker on it. You have to have a response prepared, and the response was the Morgana, and then you fail every time. Like, it might sound harsh, but that's what will happen.
Yeah, he really needed to be much more on point. But for me, I was very worried about the ward control from Nyyrikki White, because they start a dragon in a situation where anyone can just press tab, look at items, and realize, okay, on our main players, on our core player for the bot lane, we're falling behind here. We don't need this fight. We don't need this dragon right now. And also, playing with a poke composition, you're not the one that want to start these objectives, because that's the kind of position that when you're in that you can get caught out in, especially if you do not ward deep enough. That's what happened. We saw a good observer pointing out that there were no wards placed down when Nyyrikki White started that. So Quickset is already in a position with Moby Boots where he can land the hooks on basically anyone. Even though Tiara did make individual mistakes, sure, it's almost impossible in that situation to know who you're going to Black Shield and when you're going to do it, because if you use it prematurely, it's too late. If you use it on the wrong player, it's too late, or it's just plainly, it's wrong. It's not going to do anything. They shouldn't be in that position. They should be in a position where they allow and bait Ventus Esports into going for these objectives, then poke them down, and then not even starting a fight, just go for the next objective instead, securing it with superior damage versus a team that can no longer initiate on you being poked down that far.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you right there. I don't think you have to prioritize the Cloud Dragon that highly, trying to contest that objective. Probably not the greatest choice in the world. Also gotta kind of question the draft this time around, because we've been talking a lot about these players, and I think that we've been pretty clear with Nyyrikki having some pretty good solo laners and then a bottom lane that's just getting outclassed by Crystal and Quickseth.
Yeah.
To then make the choice to say, okay, we're going to be playing around the bottom lane. We're going to be playing the Ivan-Caitlyn combo that's so good at sieging. That is saying that we're going to be taking our weakest point in the map and try to play around that. Not too big of a fan of that. I think you need to start to play around Yamaru and Stenbossen more in these solo lanes, because they've both been doing quite well. I mean, they did pretty good in this game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're winning their lanes. They're doing great, almost getting solo kills in the mid lane, and there's really no focus. They get nothing from this. Maybe they got the Mountain Dragon. That's what they got from that on top of it, because Priest Kunet were falling behind quite a bit in the mid lane, couldn't really go for it. And, well, the good response to this is Ventus Esports just saying, okay, we're just going to allow you to take this. We're going to allow you to get that. We're going to wait. We're going to scale up. We're going to go for the team fights, and we're going to take those instead. And if you're not on your team aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, which I feel Nyyrikki really isn't right now. They're not realizing their weakness in the bot lane. They're just trying to go even everywhere. And that means that none of you really can carry this game. And as a team, you're just going to fall behind in these team fights versus Kristan, because he's individually such a strong player, being donated every single spell in the game to keep him alive.
Yeah, especially when you got the Cillian as well. Have been the pick for Priest Cornet 2 times in a row. And as you said, didn't look too sharp in the laning phase this time around, but then you're sitting in the back line and landing some really strong double bombs that were actually, like, pressing R on the Jinx, anyone can do that, but landing those double bombs that he was able to, that was actually pretty impressive for Priest Cornet. So while he's not the shining star of the team at all, it's been more down to Marsh, Crystal, and Quickseth, he's just been doing really solid so far.
And they can't allow this to happen again. I feel Nyyrikki White really need to realize how this team comp works by now. It was fine in game 1 not knowing. It's maybe okay trying to go for another opportunity to shut him down in the mid lane with the weak Cillian lane into the Corki, but now they realize, okay, even though they are able to make Priest Cornet fall behind, he's still going to be strong, just being able to push that R button. And Quickseth is going to be a monster on this Thresh, no matter what they play into him. Ban the Thresh, ban the Cillian, realize that these are your weak points right now, and try again, and try to come back into this. I do not want to see Nyyrikki White allow Ventus Esports to get this draft again.
I gotta agree with that Thresh looks really scary so far, but I'm just scared to think that, okay, you ban Thresh and they pick Lucian Braum and they're just gonna get run over even harder. So yeah, I honestly don't know like what to do except to play more on the solo lanes and really try to get Yamaru and Stenbossen snowballing.
A lot of interesting composition questions there, and a lot to talk about during the draft. So we're going to leave that for now. So for you at home, what do you think about the drafts? What should they pick? What should Nyyrikki really do to change this up? We're going to be coming back with game number 3, which is possibly the last game unless Nyyrikki can really figure out how to put their team together and how to get a draft that will downplay possibly the amazing bot lane on their opponent's side and try to pick up their own strengths instead of their weaknesses. So we'll be taking a short break and we'll be right back with game number 3.